Our two scripture passages this morning come first from the book of Psalms, chapter 1, and then we will turn to Luke's Gospel in chapter 4, where Jesus begins his public ministry. Let us listen for what the Spirit may be speaking to the church. The psalmist writes, "Happy are those who do not follow the advice of the wicked, or take the path that sinners tread, or sit in the scoffer's seat. But their delight is in the law of the Lord, and on God's law they meditate day and night. They are like trees planted by streams of water, which yield their fruit in its season, and their leaves do not wither. In all they do, they prosper. The wicked are not so, but are like chaff that the wind drives away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord watches over the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked will perish." And then from Luke's Gospel. "And then Jesus, filled with the power of the Spirit, returns to Galilee, and a report about him spread through all the surrounding country. He began to teach in the synagogues and was praised by everyone. When he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, Jesus went to the synagogue on the Sabbath day, as was his custom. He stood up to read, and the scroll of the prophet Isaiah was given to him. He unrolled it and found the place where it is written, 'The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim release to the captives, recovery of sight to the blind, to let the oppressed go free, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor.'" This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. If you know the rest of that story, that powerful movement, right, where the prisoners are released, the poor hear good news. The crowd does not rejoice. They try to throw Jesus off a cliff. He comes to his hometown, the place that's supposed to know the stories and to know him, and their response to his reading of the scroll and proclaiming it fulfilled that day was that they didn't want to hear it. Now, I didn't read that part because it goes on quite a while. We know full well Jesus doesn't get tossed off the cliff. But I think it's a powerful reminder for those of us who proclaim the love of God to know how often the message is not well received. Jesus isn't sharing them anything new. They know the scroll of Isaiah. They know this passage, and yet something about Jesus' way of preaching it caused trouble. And what it is he was doing, I believe, again and again, was reminding the hearers of the sacred scriptures that so often we can't hear what's really being said. As followers of Jesus, particularly in a culture that so often has seemed to support our faith in all sorts of ways, we forget sometimes that the messages of the gospel and the messages of our culture are actually in a lot of conflict. Now, what does this have to do with the climate crisis we've been talking about all the way long? Well, I think at the heart of it, the troubles that we face with the climate crisis has everything to do with a struggle around values. What is it that we value? It is about where we have our value. And so today, instead of focusing on one particular aspect of the climate crisis and the ways in which our faith can speak to it, I want to spend some time reviewing where we have been, and then talk about what I think is at the heart of so much of these things, is that it is about what we value and where our narrative lies. In the face of the climate crisis, we as people of faith, followers of Jesus, need to dig deeply into the ways in which our faith speaks. This is especially important here because our faith has so often been used as justification to ignore the climate crisis, or as justification for destruction of the environment. After all, Jesus is coming back. Let's wreck it. You think I'm making that up? I wish I wasn't. What we have affirmed in our journey together so far is that if any action undertaken does not support life for humans, for animals, for plants, and various environmental settings, then it is not from God. We have learned that always at the heart of the environmental crisis is always environmental racism. And it is unacceptable and unchristian. The odd thing is our journey into this creation study started with Sabbath. It was a recognition at the end of the day that work without end will keep us from understanding our place in the world. It will begin to think that we are at the center of the universe, and we came on day 6 after Sabbath. You'll remember that. So too, though, Sabbath is about a reminder that written into the fabric of all creation is that we have a need to stop. Not just human beings and animals, but the earth itself needs time to replenish. There's some real wisdom in our electronic age when you finally can't figure out what's going on with your cell phone or your laptop or your notebook. You just unplug it. And somehow, unplugging it makes it work again. There's some true wisdom in that. But every time the people of God have asserted the need to stop and have Sabbath, they've been labeled as lazy. That's what Pharaoh said to the slaves who were told by God to come into the wilderness and worship and stop work. The empires of the day said, oh no, the bottom line will not be messed with. Some of you, I don't often use sports references, but since it was about other things and not sports itself, I'm going to use it. Some of you might have heard that there was a little snafu around the National Basketball Association, and one of their coaches in one of the teams who made a comment about China and human rights abuses in Hong Kong. Boy, it didn't take very long before all the executives and even LeBron James, and I'll get to why this is important in a moment, backpedaled and said, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. Because the NBA makes a whole lot of money from China. Billions. LeBron James makes a lot of money from China. I'm not picking on him. This is a man who does stand up in so many ways. And yet, here in this moment, hedged his bets. I'm not judging him. I'm saying that what it points to is the power of the dollar, the power of economics, is so powerful that we run the risk of underestimating. Sabbath helps us stop and to recognize where we are in the midst of things. And then we moved on to find out that we really were very little than just dust. Right? Written into our faith is that we are united with the planet in some very unique ways. That God takes us from the soil of the earth. Yet the breath of life comes from God, but we are connected with the earth in a way that is cellular. And so to harm the earth, to harm the soil from which we come, is ultimately harming ourselves. And from there we then move to talk about water, from the poisoning in Flint to the ruined water in fracking country and mountaintop removal, to also hearing about industrial farming creating a problem for which we have to address, that is killing our beaches, killing our soil, killing ourselves. And our faith, too, says that all life originates from water. So when we poison it for short-term gain, we'll end up killing ourselves slowly. And as the sea levels rise and increased storms and climate impact the ability to even grow our food, will become an issue. And over the next 4 decades, we then move to this, that over 1 billion people will become climate refugees. And as people of faith, we are called to welcome and care for the immigrant In the ways in which we harm the land and harm water, it will become harder to grow the food that we need to feed all people. And in the end, the bad news just seems to keep adding up. I wish I had good news around that this week. But what I have to say is that each week when we talked about this, we were reminded that the bad news does not have the last word. That we are called to hope even in the face of overwhelming death. The empty tomb reminds us that death does not have the last word, and that as people of faith we are called to act beyond just thoughts and prayers, but to find out the ways in which we can be part in some way of making a change. Because in our action is hope. Here's the thing about our faith at the end of the day. If we attend closely to the sacred scriptures, care for creation is really just a minimal expectation. The creator of the universe calls us to be rooted in love. Expects that we will seek the peace and shalom of all people, of all environments, and all that has been given for the sustenance of life. But as people of faith, our response to the climate crisis must be more than just technical fixes. Our unique contribution is to challenge the thinking that led to the mess, to say no to our brothers and sisters who have misused our texts, and say no to the ways that do not bring life, and figure out how to build a new day. Engaging the climate crisis will not be, at the end of the day, successful with the same thinking that created the mess. In the end, the climate crisis is a crisis of values. The climate crisis is simply the result of foolish values. Short-term thinking coupled with competition as an economic ideal does not lead to cooperative action, or seeing all people as beloved children of God, worthy of care and respect. Instead, in the end, the values of our faith and the values of the current arrangement are at odds with one another. They cannot be syncretized. Ethicist Norman Wiersbe says that the problem with making competition, quote, the problem with making competition an economic ideal is that it finally leads us into a state of war against each other and against our home. Virtues like kindness and neighborliness, virtues that are indispensable to community life, have no room in a world where competition is king. End quote. And at the heart of our faith are the values of kindness and neighborliness and a call to communal life. What we know is that the values of our current economic models, rooted in competition, leads to seeing things as commodities. We see land as a means to an end. We begin to imagine that everything and everyone is a commodity to be bought and sold. And the worth of every human being is tied to the size of their bank account. I'm not making this up. It just is. And yet, at the heart of our faith is a call to be set free from that mess. To imagine that those on the margins actually matter. Despite what insurance companies say, those lives matter, even if not economically. So we begin to recognize and step back and see what we're dealing with is a clash of values. And that's a helpful step. When Jesus begins his ministry in Luke's Gospel, he says these: "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he's anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He sent me to proclaim release to the captives, recovery of sight to the blind, and let the oppressed go free, and to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." In those words, they're not new. The very people who have preached these words have been at the forefront of oppression, have been at the forefront of putting more people in prison than anywhere else in the world, of keeping people down and then claiming that God was on their side. Probably didn't read that passage all that much. somehow think the God of love can march arm in arm with the God of Rome. That somehow the emperor might be a gift from God, or if not a gift, at least we're going to deal with the current arrangements while we grumble and not really do much about it. Because, well, we're getting rich, at least those at the top were. These words from Jesus are a reminder that the call to serve and to love other people is never going to be a nice side project which fits with the empire's values. Instead, it is a clear call that whenever the earth, whenever human beings, whenever anything in all creation is at risk, we are called to stand up and to say no by whatever means we have at our disposal. In whatever way we can. We can all list the things that we are not able to do. That's not a very productive project. Instead, what are the ways that each of us individually can respond? Make that list. And then think how we might respond collectively here in this place as followers of the rebel-rouser Jesus who nearly got thrown off a cliff. Here's the thing. If we really dig down and take seriously the call to care for all of God's creation, we will find out that in our faith we have something powerful to offer. And it is my hope that we might just do